All right, so I think we're going to get started. So hello, everyone. Welcome, and thank you very much for joining us on this special occasion, the official launch of Masorti Olami Shmita project. Woo! My name is Hani Goldengreen, and I'm the director of Noam Olami. I will be moderating this event tonight or today, wherever you may be joining us from. I'm very happy to be here with you all, and we have a wonderful event ahead of us, so let's get started. A few technical issues before we start our program. The program will be in English, but we do have simultaneous translation into Spanish available throughout the event. So for those of you who are interested, at the bottom of your screen next to the Zoom controls, you'll see an option for interpretations, a little globe icon. You can click there and select Spanish, or everyone else, if you're interested in listening in English, then select English. In addition, if you have any questions or comments throughout the event, then please put them in the chat, and we'll hopefully have time for questions in the end. So in tonight's event, we have some wonderful guest speakers, including our keynote speaker, Dr. Ruth Calderon, former member of Knesset and founder and director of ALMA, Home for Hebrew Culture. At the end of the program, we hope you'll join us and take a trip around the world to 11 different countries, hearing L'chaim and blessings from our Masorti conservative communities in their local language ahead of the new year. So this coming Rosh Hashanah, we will embark on a special journey where we will learn all about the ancient tradition of Shmita and what meaning it can have for our modern day lives, especially for those of you living outside of Israel. We want to encourage everyone to pause, reimagine, and engage during this Shmita year. Our year-long Shmita project includes a dedicated website filled with fascinating material which will help communities and individuals navigate the world of Shmita. So mark your calendars. The website will launch after the holidays on October 3rd and will feature Dr. Yizhar Hess, Vice Chairman of the World Zionist Organization, as our first speaker to kick off our series of monthly lectures about Shmita. And we invite you to be part of the journey with us and hope you'll enjoy and learn from this event. So to start us off, it's my honor to welcome Rabbi Mauricio Balter, Executive Director of Masorti Olami and Merkaz Olami, to open our event.
Shalom lekulam, shalom everyone. This Rosh Hashanah, we will enter a year of Shmita. We read at the Torah in Exodus 23. בשש שנים תזרע את ארצך ואספת את תבואתה, והשביעית תשמטנה ונשתה ויאכלו אביוני עמך, ויתרום תאכל חיית השדה, כאן תעשה לכרמך לזיתך. For 6 years you are to sow your land and to gather in its produce. But in the 7th you are to let it go and let it be, that the needy of your people may eat, and what remains the wildlife of the field shall eat. Do this with your vineyard, with your olive grove. Shmita, like all the agriculture mitzvot of the Torah, is a mitzvah that can only be fulfilled in the land of Israel. It is a great challenge to think of Shmita in our communities around the world where Shmita is not a mitzvah. For Masorti and Merkaz Olami, we see in the idea of Shmita a unique opportunity to revalue the concept of time, of the cycle, to rethink ourselves and to use this special year to recharge our battery to move in new directions. I want to thank the team of Masorti Olami and Merkaz Olami, Hani Goldengreen, Osnat Spiegel, Ariela Rosenberg-Garbatsky, and Tehila Ruben for their hard work on the project. It is now time to start our program, and we will do it with a short clip that presents the foundation of our project. Then we invite you to become our partners and participate in this project by sending us your ideas, materials, and relating to this topic. I say goodbye, wishing you all a Shana Tova with good health and happiness and a significant Shmita year, allowing us to carry out our proposal for this year. Let's take a break, dedicate time to redesign ourselves, and commit to the chosen chance. Shana Tova. Only I want to say quiero decir para los que hablan español, apretar
I
el
would
botón
like
de
to say
interpretación
for
abajo
those
y
who
pasar al
speak
canal Spanish. Thank you very much.
On September 6th, this coming Rosh Hashanah 5782, we are not just starting a new year, but also starting the Shmita year. We at Masorti Olami thought long and hard on how to bring Shmita to our communities, and we decided to launch the Masorti Olami Shmita project. The Shmita year invites us to take a break and rethink the world we live in, to reconnect with nature and ourselves through an ancient Jewish tradition and embrace some of the customs and halachot. The Shmita project is working to expand awareness of this incredible biblical sabbatical tradition and to bring the values of its practices to life today so we can support healthier and more sustainable Jewish communities. The mitzvah of Shmita involves multiple aspects of our lives. The Masorti Olami Shmita project will focus on 5 of these aspects: Tikkun Olam, Ahavat Haaretz, personal growth, sustainability in Judaism, and halakha. Part of the project includes a dedicated website that we built especially for you. The website contains educational material, videos and resources that will enable you to learn and explore the fascinating world of Shmita. A special part of the website will be devoted to your personal Shmita. This is your space. There you can post your thoughts, your Shmita experiences, upload activities and videos, ask questions, and share your Shmita journey with us. In addition, on the first Sunday of each month, we will host a lecture about a different feature of Shmita. We invite you to join us on this meaningful and fulfilling journey.
So this video gave us a little taste of what the project and website will have in store for you throughout the year. So again, please join us for the launch on October 3rd and stay tuned for more information. Now, please welcome Emily Levy-Shochat, Vice Chair of KKL, Chair of KKL's Committee for Environment and Science, as well as Treasurer of Merkaz Olami. Emily?
Toda rabah, erev tov to everybody. I must say, just seeing the film excites me already. It really is exciting. You think about Shmita, and then you see it, and it's real. So yes, I'm happy to be here as our representative, one of our representatives at the Keren Kayemet L'Yisrael, and the person responsible for the science and environment community. I'm very happy to say that we, thanks to our efforts, have gotten KKL, Keren Kayemet L'Yisrael, JNF, to establish a center for fighting the climate crisis. This is a new step for Kakal. It's very exciting. We're at the beginning of the process, and we're going to use this Shnat Shmita, but not only to develop it further and further. So I think it's a tremendous feather in our cap that we have brought this to the table, and it's been received very wonderfully. My pleasure. I also, before I introduce Dr. Ruth Calderon, which is my pleasure, I've been asked to read the following, which is also, it's all exciting. Lots of good things are happening. And I will read it. This is from Rabbi Lee Paskin of the Rabbinical Assembly. And pay attention, because some of you may already know about this, and if you don't, you're invited to take part. We are proud to share with you some very exciting news about our Masorti movement's commitment to applying the values of our Torah and tradition to the healing of our environment. The Masorti movement has created a new sustainable roundtable composed of representatives from 18 arms of our movement worldwide. Each member organization is planning to create during this Shmita cycle its own sustainability goals and practices to run over the 7 years of the cycle. We will mark and celebrate our collective achievements during the next year, 5789. This effort commits us all to making measurable differences in the life of our planet and our fellow Jews and all created beings. If you'd like more information, and I know that there's a lot of action happening already, I have the pleasure of sitting around the table that's talking about this, please contact the Rabbinical Assembly in America, specifically Rabbi Lee Paskin. Thank you. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our speaker tonight, Dr. Ruth Calderon, who's not a stranger to us or probably to many of you. And Ruth is actually an ideal person to guide us into the Shmita year of vision, thought, and action. Why? Because Ruth herself is a woman of vision, thought, and action. In 1996, she conceived and established Alma, a unique educational center which views Hebrew, and I quote from their site, Alma, which views Hebrew culture as a sea of knowledge and experience, text and context, filled by the 3 great rivers that run into it: Jewish culture, Israeli culture, and general universal culture. Alma strives to make this cultural blend a meaningful element in the identity of Jews in Israel and around the world. To this day, Ruth is the director of Alma. She also serves on the faculty of the Mandel Institute for Leadership here in Jerusalem. And along the way, when she was a little bit maybe bored, she became, as Hani mentioned earlier, in 2013 to 15, she was a Knesset member, as a member of the Yesh Atid party, during which her primary concern was the right of pluralistic religious expression in Israel. I am truly delighted to say that Ruth has been a longtime partner and friend to the Masorti movement in Israel and abroad. As we are about to this evening, we here in Israel have benefited from her special combination of intellectualism, vision, and practicality. Dr. Calderon will speak about Shmita, sacred time for land, community, and man. And with greatest pleasure, Ruth, I turn the screen over to you.
Myself. Toda Rabba, thank you very much for your kind words, Emily. I'm so excited to be here with all of you. And I feel in some ways not part of the movement, but a very close friend to it. I want to say that when I was a teenager, we spent a year in Canberra, Australia. And I was in high school and we didn't know anyone. And the synagogue we used to go to there was a Masorti synagogue. And for me, and I think for the whole family, it was a game changer in our life. And I thank you all for existing and giving us avenues into our own heritage. And so I'm happy to be here. It's a special pleasure to hear Alma in Spanish translation because Alma is the soul. My father was a Spanish speaker, so Alma Mia is something I heard at home. Alma is the world in Aramaic, and that's why I chose, because of the soul and the world, I chose the word to be the name of our institution. And Shmita is a very special topic for me because last Shmita, which seems like a week ago, but it is 7 years ago, I was in the Knesset and I tried to bring about a big project of forgiving of debt, which is part of Shmita. I'll speak about it a little more, but I'm so glad to be on the edge of another Shmita, and maybe together we can bring about things that take time to realize. I want to say again another something before I jump into the subject, and that is that we live in a year of COVID. It's been a year now, I think, or even more. And COVID, which is a tragedy in many ways, and a threat and fear, and it's not comfortable to think of Rosh Hashanah in a month and not know if we'll sit with the family or again in isolation. But I would like to look at COVID as some kind of Shmita that came about on us. We didn't ask for it and we don't want it, but in many ways it made us all let go and drop down many things that used to be taken for granted. And sometimes in times of crisis, inside the crisis, inside the challenge, there's also an opportunity. And I'll try to weave in how these days of COVID, sometimes of not going to work and staying at home, sometimes changing our timetable completely, not being able to travel like we used to, is or was for the last year a kind of Shmita year that, at least for me, I feel, and I'm sure for most of you, brought with it some insight of maybe some of the things that we are doing because we are used to doing them, and sometimes you're surprised to see that a Zoom meeting can be just as good as an actual meeting, and there's less traveling, less parking, less leaving the kids alone, and so on. And the whole world is shaken. And I don't want to talk about the downside of it, but to talk about the upside of it. That Shmita, I think, is a big lesson that tells us that everything could be a little different and we will still be ourselves. So I want to start with the magic of the number 7 in Jewish time, in the Jewish schedule, or the week, the month, the 7 years, and so on. Professor Rachel Eliyahu from Hebrew University brought to my attention in her writing that 7 is not a natural number. It's not something like day and night, like the years of our life, or like things that breathing, things that naturally there are 12 hours of, or a little less of daytime and then of nighttime. 7 is something people invented, or the cycle of 7. Jewish people invented, it seems like, and it is, so it's a cultural invention that Heschel calls a castle in time, Armon Bazman. And this castle that ancient Jews built in time is something that you decide that you're going to do. It's something that you choose. Now I see the week as practice. Every week of our life, since we were very little kids until today and going forward, it's a cycle of imun, of practicing and becoming better and better in doing the 7th day, in accepting Shabbat, in resting. And I'm not a halachic person, and I'm not going to talk about halacha here, but about the spiritual essence of choosing one day of the week to let go of everything that is work or not necessary or not exactly what we choose to be, that our work is not us necessarily, and that for one day, even as children, and in a cycle that goes up like I forget the term of the word that we go around, but we go up with the cycle of time. We become better and better in just being on Shabbat. And that's practice that comes every week, whether we like it or not, whether we accept it or not, whether we prepare ourselves to it and we accept Shabbat coming in and then letting go of it and separating and saying goodbye to Shabbat. But the Jewish cycle goes on to the 7th year of Shmita, of the sabbatical year, Shnata Sheva. Again, it's different words of saying 7, 7 and 7. And like the weekdays and Shabbat, the 7 years in Shmita, again, are a kind of a build-up to a whole year that tells us, now do for the year what you usually do for a day on a week. And it's something that you have to be brave to do, because it is inviting us to something radical, to letting go. I'm not working this year. We know how teachers do it. They have a sabbatical year and they go and study, but that is also something very established. If I'm listening to the Bible, like with the open heart and spirit, it says to you, take your bag and go travel the world for a year. Leave your home, go couch surfing. Something very wild, like don't let yourself be grounded to what accidentally became your life. And even much more radical than that, every 49 years, and people that are going to become 50 many times feel that feeling, like when you go up on a balloon, kadur poreach, on a, balloon is the English term, and you throw down,
A hot air balloon.
A hot air balloon, and you throw down the buckets of sand or whatever is heavy. When you become 49, and you have the fortune to experience Yovel, the 49th, the 50th year, you again let go of whatever is keeping you not completely authentic, not completely you. You can be anything, you can start again. The biblical, wonderful concept of Yovel is that, like in Monopoly, you might have a few hotels and some houses, and you became a rich player, and then you give it all up and you start again and you get 200 whatever shekel in Israel and start again and have another trip. The wild biblical idea that rich people and poor people on the 50th year let go of all their ownership and start again just as a human being. Maybe once in your life, you had the opportunity to be a rich person. The second round of your life, maybe you'll be a poor person. And it's not good or bad. It's just a game. And this wild imagination or concept, we know that stopped. The scriptures say after the 10 tribes went to the diaspora, but maybe it never really happened. The letting go of debt to people that took a loan and can't give it back on the 7th year, maybe also stopped many years ago and maybe never happened. But I want us today to breathe in the possibility that shows me again how the ancient Jewish writers were so much more adventurous than we usually are, even if they were much older and more kind of responsible than us, and that it's good to even play with the idea I don't think that I'm recommending anyone to leave home and go travel, but to take something of that sense that says everything can be different. Every week, the Saturday morning is different to Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And every week, Saturday afternoon is not like any other day. And so every 7 years, Shmita can bring about an opportunity to a different kind of year. Again, some of the things that we experienced this year, and we didn't travel or we didn't go to our offices and nothing bad happened. It's just different. Different is not always bad. It could be freeing. It could open another room in our soul. It can open another possibility in our family. It could change the way children study. It could change the way we live in our rooms with the other people in the family. We can change roles of who is making breakfast. Everything could be the same and different. So the first thing is this round of 7, the practice of 7 days, then the Shmita, that is, we'll talk about the land, but I wanted to start with a person of, now we have another month until Rosh Hashanah. Think, each one of us, what is it in this year that we can change without hurting anyone, that we can let go, that we can free, that we can drop some kind of sand that is making us heavy and is not necessary. And that's a nice thought for this Rosh Hashanah. The other side of it, about land, and I saw in the film, and I'm trusting because I see so many young people here that you will go deep into it, is the sustainability, the responsibility to the world. Everything that we see, the world is showing us that it's not feeling so well with a change of weather and frightening things that we see around us. There's so many things that we can do in our everyday life, and I saw in the film that you're going to go into that. But the biblical sense of it was just saying, let the land rest. Just give it some time off. Don't squeeze it. Don't take everything out of the land that is giving us life. And every 6 years, let it just sit and not plant, not grow, and so on. Let it just rest. That can be implied in so many other things that we milk to the end, like the chickens that give too many eggs, and we don't let them have day or night, and we make animals, we change them to be tools or equipment to ta'asiyah, to someone help me?
Industry.
To an industry of food, but they are actually animals. And is it even kosher to eat an egg of a chicken, a hen that never has night or day? I mean, the whole thing of not only on the land, I tried to do a project of stop fishing for a year. Let nature rest. And in the same way that we need to let the things that we live off, and we became so sophisticated and so good in milking them to the end, letting things rest, I think it could be implied to our own imagination, work, talent. Sometimes just sit and dream and don't be practical and don't have an agenda and just daydream. Let your mind, like land, have some Shmita. Just sit there and watch the clouds or something silly on Netflix and let your mind rest like that, because I think we became too efficient, and I think that the ancient Jews already felt that something about the human species is ruling the world to death, and that sometimes you need to let go on yourself, on your heart, on your ambitions, and let go on the children, on the people you live with, on the animals we live with. Just be. So that is the second thing, let the land rest. The third issue, and I'm not sure what I did with my time, is something that is very important to me and that I tried to implement in the Knesset, and that is the economic side of Shmita. One of the most worst things that people can do to themselves, and usually they do it because they have no alternative, is to take a loan. The Bible shows us that the thing that begins to tear families apart, to ruin people's lives, is a loan. It begins, it looks, the bank sends you a WhatsApp, says, if you need 100,000, no problem, we'll give it to you. But when people take loans, and people took loans in the Bible, in ancient times, in rabbinic times, and today, students, everyone, when we need something and we can't afford it, usually you pay your loan, hopefully. But if something happens, someone gets sick, the child is not well, the weather is terrible and there's no crop, something happens and people can't pay back the loan, it grows and grows. And then you see in the biblical tragedies when people have to sell their home, and then they have to sell the property so they can't grow, and then they start working for someone else, and then they sell themselves to be slaves, and then they sell their children to be slaves. And the Bible hates slavery. When you lose yourself, when you lose your freedom. And so the 7th year of Shmita, and of course the Yovel, the 49th year, is an opportunity to stop the tragedy of losing your freedom and becoming a slave and you losing your property. And so they came up with the idea of forgiving debt. Now the modern logic is, what do you mean? If they took a loan and we'll forgive the debt, everybody will take loans and they will cheat and so on. I want to invite you not to think about it from a perspective of suspicion that people will cheat, but think about it from a perspective of mercy, of understanding that people, and you can see it in your community and around you, it's all over the world, people that took loans and are in debt and they can't get out. The loan becomes bigger and bigger and people don't have means to pay it back. And you can see in Israel families where children can't go to the trip in school because the parents can't pay the whatever due. And this idea of forgiving debt that sounded crazy in the beginning, when I tried to learn it a little deeper, I found out when we spoke to Professor Eugene Kendall, who was then the advisor to the Prime Minister, told me it could be a good modern idea. And together we went to the heads of the Israeli banks, and all the banks but one were happy to forgive debt, because in the bank it is called chovot avudim, lost debt, and they know that anyway these people will not have the money to pay back. And if they forgive the lost debt, they bring back these people as clients, and something good happens to the economy, something optimistic, some movement, some turn to the good side. And so we started a project of 5,000 families that were in debt. And in the end, unfortunately, the chief rabbinate was not positive about it and it didn't work out. But I want to say that this biblical notion of forgiving debt is not just a fantasy, and it's something that every community in the world can do. we cannot do it officially with money of governments, but we can do it with fundraising around the community. And with very little money, together with the banks, it is possible to give hope, to give a new start, to give a new life of freedom to people in the community that are in this jail of debt. And so Shmita is not just a concept of spiritual thought and not just a concept of collecting plastic and using, sustainable washing powder and so on. It could be something practical in economy, in real life of real people. And I urge you to at least think about it in your communities, and maybe even saving one family or a few children from being out of the game and in debt could be, I think, very meaningful. I'm talking about economy because I think that the deep idea of Shmita wants to teach all of us that are fortunate to have a home and to have enough money to live our life without worry of need and the absence of everyday food or need. Shmita is again a practice in saying, don't collect your fruit this year and feel what it feels like to be homeless, to just be like an animal in the field, to be part of the big world of God and not control everything, but be more vulnerable. And when you let yourself be in that state for a little while even, and Shabbat could be also a practice of that, you become more sensitive to people who don't have. And to the poor person in the road that is asking for some small change and is usually threatening us, and we don't want to open the window of the car because the homeless is someone that is wild and frightening and dangerous to us. The year of Shmita says, touch the place within yourself that you are the homeless, that you might be someone that needs help, that you are not in total control of your world. Let this feeling of need or feeling of vulnerability enter your soul or your life once in 7 days, once in 7 years, and of course twice in your lifetime, at least in the 50th year. I think I'm quite on time to take some questions. Am I not?
Yes. So everyone, if you have a question, then feel free to write it in the chat. In the meantime, I would like to ask you a question. Thank you very much for everything you said. I think it was absolutely fascinating. I want to ask if you think it's actually realistic. If everyone now took a Shmita year to themselves and everyone went on vacation or holiday or to do whatever, do you think that's something that could happen?
I know that people hate change. I know it from myself. And people like things to stay as they are. Every time before, even a trip that you were looking forward to, even vacation, you sit there at night with your luggage and you say, why do I need it? What's wrong at home? People don't like change. So I don't think everybody will just leave and start going. And I'm not talking about vacation. I'm trying to urge you, especially young people, to not let gravity put you to sleep. And it's amazing that it's our ancient text that tells you, wake up, think, what didn't you do and you want to do and you're always putting, maybe I'll do it 1 year. What is it that you want to study? What language do you want to study? What country do you want to visit? What city do you want to live in? Like, live. I think Shmita is not about going away and having a holiday. It's about bringing into your life or taking off from your life some kind of cover that puts you to sleep. And I think Shabbat is that kind of day also. For me, Shabbat, it's a day of taking off and going to feeling nature, feeling God's world, and not letting my routine, my schedule, the things that one day you wake up and suddenly you are 60, and when did it all happen? And this 7 cycle is inviting you to wake up, to be alive. So if it's something that is in you and wants to wake up, I trust that the other powers in you will keep you well organized and responsible. And we are not, although we are wandering Jews, we have very good grounding. So I let myself, and it's 10 in the evening in Israel, so I'm trying to wake you up also. Don't take every word I say as something that you have to immediately do. But if I can urge you to think about it, I'm happy.
So I think that's great advice. I would like to ask you one more thing. So if you have any plans for your Shmita year this year, what are you going to do?
That's a great question. I would like to study something new. I would like to, it's in Israel, September 1st is the first day of school. And it's usually a holiday for children. And I'm trying to introduce this year, September 1st, as a holiday of study for everyone in every age, to say, what do you study this year? Like New Year resolution of going to the gym, to have New Year resolution of going to study something, a language, a text. So that's part of what
it's going to the brain gym this year.
To the brain gym, to the study gym with people. I'm trying, I hope I will succeed. I'm not succeeding as yet, but my dream is to work in bicycle distance, to stop traveling, commuting. I'm not there yet, but that's my hope, to commute walking or on bicycle. It doesn't work with Jerusalem yet, and I love my job there. But that is if I could make a Shmita wish, it would be commuting on bicycle.
I think that's a great plan, and hopefully it'll be something that could happen this year. So we have a question from one of our participants. Joe Levy is asking if you can tell us about plans for Alma for the Shmita year.
Alma is that's interesting. We didn't start the economic project this year again, but what I try to do at Alma is invite artists, scriptwriters, musicians, artists, psychologists, and therapists to take off a day a week and come marinate in the study of classic Jewish text at Alma. And so that is a kind of little Shmita within life, because I believe that when creative people and artists are in touch with classic text, it goes into their art later on, and it comes back to the public sphere. So I am not working in agriculture, but my agriculture is the arts, and that's what I would hope to do, to have a few groups of artists like we have this year, the scriptwriters, and then when you watch series on Netflix of Israeli scriptwriters and you find little jewels of classic text within them, or in songs, in music, or in dance, or in poetry, I feel that we did our job.
Excellent. So I think we're going to conclude this section of our event tonight. So again, thank you so much for honoring us with your presence. It was absolutely fascinating. And yeah, thank you for all your kind words and your great advice. And I hope we can all, take them on this year and try and think about how we can challenge our thinking and what we're used to doing and have a proper Shmita year this year. So
thank you.
Okay, I also want to take this opportunity to thank my entire team at Masorti Olami, led by Rabbi Masorti Olami, for working together and making this vision become a reality. And we look forward to sharing more exciting projects in the coming year. So thank you very much again to Ruth Calderon. And now I'd like to invite Rabbi Philip Shaim, president of Masorti Olami, to give the closing remarks and lead us in our first L'chaim blessing for the new year.
Thank you so much, Hanan. First of all, it is an honor to follow Dr. Ruth Calderon, who is one of the preeminent teachers of our time and even taught Torah in the Knesset, which all of us remember and were inspired by. I would just say that one of my prized possessions is at my reach on my desk, A Bride for One Night, the beautiful collection of Agadot. And so with Bershut Moratenu, with the permission of our teacher, I'm going to do something chutzpahdik. I'm going to take a half a moment to teach an Agadah in the presence of one of the great teachers of Agadah of our time. It's a beautiful Agadah in Psachim, and it's very brief. One of the great things about many Agadot is that they can be really succinct, just a few words. And this is the story of Rav Yosef, the son of Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, who becomes very ill, falls into a coma, is at the brink of death, but he recovers. He comes out of his coma, and his father is very curious. He says, "My chazia, when you were in that other world, you're at the brink of the other world, at its doorstep. What did you see? What did you see?" And so he says, "Olam hafuch ra'iti. I saw an upside-down world, a topsy-turvy world. Elinim lamata v'tachtonim lamala. Those who are exalted here, they were lowly. Those lowly here, they were exalted." And his father says to him, "Bini olam barur ra'ita. You saw a clear world. You saw the right world, the way the world should be. The world we are living in is olam hafuch, an upside-down world." I find that very brief Agadah to be very inspirational because it reminds us that the dreams that we have of a better world, that should be the reality. And that's our mission. It's our mission in Masorti Olami. It's our mission as Jews to try to transform the current world, which is really olam hafuch so often, and now especially. It's upside down, it's crazy, it's filled with illness and war and depravity. It's olam hafuch. The real world, the world the way it should be, is the world of our dreams, the world that we fight and struggle to build. That's probably why, I've always been intrigued by the disparity on Rosh Hashanah greeting cards, certainly in North America and probably in other Anglo-Saxon countries and elsewhere, where you have on one side Shana Tova, and the other side Happy New Year. And we Jews don't say Happy New Year, we say Shana Tova, good year. Happy, maybe, hopefully. But happiness isn't a value, goodness is, and we can make the world better. We have the power within us to transform the starkness of our reality, the painfulness of our surroundings so often, into what truly should be Olam Barur, the world, the way it is intended to be, the way God wants it to be, and the way we can, with energy, with help, and with dedication, Agmat Nefesh, with hard work, we can help transform our current reality into that Olam Barur. So I'm honored to introduce greetings from around the world, L'chaim to all, and this isn't as strong as it was supposed to be. But let me wish all of you l'chaim tovim u'shalom, a world of peace and goodness and strength and health and safety and vitality. And let's hear greetings from around the world at this time.
So I'm going to play the video in just a second, but I'm also reminding you that we will showcase videos in the original languages from our communities from around the world. So notice that you'll have translation available in the chat. So if you can't understand what people are saying, then look to the chat and hopefully you'll be able to follow along. Okay. Didn't show the sound. Hold on.
Honey, we don't see the video.
Okay, hold on. A minute. Technical thing, hold on. Do you see it now?
Yes, we see it now.
Nós aqui, desde a nossa Keilah, o Centro Israelita Porto-Alegrense no sul do Brasil, em nosso nome, em nome da Masorti Olami, queremos desejar um feliz 5.782 a toda a comunidade judaica.
Assim como a Massá comeu, que tenhamos um ano muito doce, muito abençoado. Lishanat Tová Tikatevu.
Shana Tová Uyetuká. Korányi Dóra vagyok, Budapestről, Magyarországról, és ezúton szeretnék minden Masorti és Marom és Noam közösségnek nagyon boldog és nagyon egészséges új évet kívánni. Remélem, hogy az idei év sok jót hoz, és sokaknak a tervei és az álmai megvalósulhatnak, és mindenki egy kicsit szabadabb és jobb évet kap, mint az előző egy-kettő volt. Úgyhogy egészségetekre, l'chaim!
Россия по осени славится своими яблоками. Я хочу всем пожелать счастливого и сладкого года. L'chaim.
Shalom kutoka Kehilat Israel Jewish Community. Tunatakia wote kila laheri for a new year, and we say Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehekianu vehimianu lazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ashrei pri hagafen. Shana Tova. Thank you very much. Asante sana.
Hi, ik ben Ilana. Ik vertegenwoordig Masorti Almere Wees. Ik wens jullie allemaal een heel goed en gezond 57-82. Een jaar waarin we hopelijk weer met z'n allen gewoon bijeen kunnen komen. Alvast op een zoet jaar gewenst. L'chaim. En Shana Tova. L'chaim.
Ich bin Rabbinerin Gisa Iderberg aus Berlin in Deutschland. Und ich wünsche uns allen, euch und allen, die es anschauen, Shana Tova Umetuka, ein wunderbares, gutes, süßes und vor allem gesundes Jahr. L'chaim.
Hola, soy Malena.
Hello, I am Malena. I am the coordinator of NOA Madrid. And I want to wish you a new year filled with health and peace and happiness and meetings and closeness, and continue to grow and practice Tikkun Olam. Bendito eres tú, Dios nuestro Señor, Rey del universo, que nos has dado la vida nos has sostenido y nos has llevado, nos has traído hasta este día.
Från ett för tillfället soligt Göteborg önskar jag er alla ett
La
gott
comunidad judía
nytt
de Gothenburg de Suecia.
med framgång och hälsa. Shana Tova och Metuka. L'chaim.
Shana Tova de Noam, Ucrania.
Shalom, shalom. Bonjour à tous. Je m'appelle Elias Garzon.
Mi nombre
et
es
je viens de la
Elías
communauté d'Adat
Garzón
Shalom.
y soy de la comunidad de Francia. Les
Quelques
deseo
années
Shana
maintenant
Tova
qu'avec les
del fondo de mi corazón que este año de descanso para la tierra también sea un año para cultivar vínculos verdaderos entre nosotros, entre nuestras comunidades y más extensamente con toda la humanidad. Que nuestro arrepentimiento nos permita llegar a un nuevo camino.
Honey, can you pause? Honey, can you pause? Lydia, sorry, you're in the wrong channel. You're in the English channel. Can you just go back to the Spanish channel? Great. Okay, we're back.
Entre nous, dans nos communautés, et puis pour la race humaine plus généralement. Que notre vrai repentir nous fasse passer à une nouvelle étape. L'chaim.
Warszawska społeczność Kitów poczęła się, narodziła się i postawiła pierwsze kroki podczas ostatniego cyklu Shmita, który kończy się 7. rokiem, rokiem odpoczynku, rokiem regenerowania sił. Z historii Izraela i narodu żydowskiego wiemy, że wielokrotnie miały miejsce cudowne wydarzenia w pierwszym roku cyklu Shmita. Wznosimy kielich, życząc odpoczynku w roku Shmita, cudów, które nastąpią i Shana Tova umetuka.
לחיים. מהי שמיטה? שמיטה בדור הזה, בארץ ישראל, זו מידת חסידות. אבל הערכים שמאחורי שנת השמיטה, צדק ומוסר ושוויון, אלה הערכים שאנחנו יכולים לתרגם לשפה מעשית בכל מקום ובכל זמן, ודאי בשנת השמיטה הקרובה. אני רוצה לאחל לכל הקהילות המסורתיות בארץ ובתפוצות שנה של פריון ושנה של שגשוג. אני רוצה לאחל לכולנו כאן, במוסדות הלאומיים, שנה של ציונות מבורכת, ליברלית ושואפת שלום. לחיים.
So thank you to everyone who joined us this evening or throughout the day, again, depending where you are. We hope to see you at our next Shmita event on October the 3rd, where we will be launching the website that we mentioned earlier. So look forward to hearing more information as we get nearer to the date. But we invite you to be part of this journey along with us. The website will also have the opportunity to include activities and things that the communities and you as individuals will be able to share and upload to there yourselves. So we want you, as Ruth Calderon was telling us, to really think about what this year might have in store for us and to think about what we can do for ourselves and for our environment, and really take this Shmita year as an opportunity to think a bit different, to reimagine our own world, and yeah, come along on this journey together with us. And if you have any projects or anything that you're doing on yourselves on Shmita, or anything to do with sustainability or Tikkun Olam or any of the issues and topics that we mentioned throughout the event, then you're more than welcome to reach out to us, and we will feature those as well. So thank you very much, and Shana Tova, and we hope to see you all again soon.